Where this bill fails is it does not recognize that a new economy is emerging. It's trying to build back what we had in 2019 and early 2020. And so much has changed. The American economy is digitized. It's more efficient. It's like a coiled spring ready to burst open as soon as people get vaccinated. So if we could just focus on what really matters here, and I will give credit to Biden and his team, he did deliver on infrastructure in terms of vaccinations. Here in Miami, where I am, the CVS is open, taking a wide range of cohort ages and vaccinating them every hour. But I would rather have seen this, and if you told me it costs $1 trillion to accelerate vaccination rates from 2 million a day to 7 million, I want to spend on that, because that's the highest internal rate of return for the American economy, the taxpayer, and every individual in it. But this bill misses the mark in so many ways, so much waste. Look, you know, I encourage every single taxpayer to just read it in a synopsis. There's plenty of it on the internet. How about $300 million to COVID animal surveillance? Last time I checked, there are no animals worried about COVID. And all kinds of money going to states that were way off broken before the COVID even hit. And then $128 billion to the teachers union. That's basically funding mediocrity. High-paid teachers should be the ones that are high performers. We can't do that under the current union situation. There's waste, waste, waste. And who pays for it? Future. It's just terrible to waste this money. I would have said give it to people that are unemployed and get these vaccinations going. The only two cohorts that matter right now. Don't fund the airlines anymore. Fund the employees of the airlines that are displaced by the fact that we simply don't know yet how many people are going back to business travel. We don't know yet how many people are actually going to work in the office. We have to let the economy stabilize before we fund it.
Respond to that. What do you say?
I don't know where Kevin's getting his talk points from, but the reality is that this plan is widely supported by the American people. Experts like Janet Yellen, our new Treasury Secretary, says it's the most important thing we can do right now. And you talk about giving money to the unemployed. This does give money to the unemployed, about $250 billion to the unemployed, about $350 billion to state and local governments that have been whacked, like my state of New York, that had lost so much in sales tax revenue because we got crushed so badly. We had refrigerator trucks full of bodies in our streets back in March and April of last year. $424 billion in $1,400 checks to families. Now, listen, I would have liked some of those to be more targeted than they were, but that's going to keep the economy booming. And we have to look at how cruelly uneven this pandemic has been. Some people are unscathed. Some people are working remotely. They're making money. Wall Street's going up. Online retail's doing great. And other businesses have been wiped out. 25% of the people who make under $40,000 a year are unemployed. So many people are just hanging on. If you saw 60 Minutes this weekend, it was unbelievable. People that are living in homeless shelters that have never been anything near like that before, who worked 2 or 3 jobs and now just can't get back to work because so many businesses have been closed. There is a new economy. Kevin's right about that. We're going to have to be ready for that. But we need to get through this very difficult time. And as the president said, we need to build back better. Most economists, if like 90% of them, say the biggest mistake we can make right now is not spending enough money. And I believe that this is going to be great for our economy. And we'll have to see what the results are. But economics today are very different than they were 20, 30, 40 years ago. We know what to do. The Fed has tools. The government has tools to deal with inflation. This is a great plan to build back better, to help people that are in trouble, including reopening schools. Not for the teachers' unions. It's to reopen schools and put kids back into schools in safe environments so they can learn and not be disadvantaged.
Kevin, help me with this. I don't disagree with you on the idea of wanting to do this more precisely. I think everybody wishes that you could actually, with like a laser beam, just get the money to the most vulnerable people. But if I told you that the system is not created in a way that allows for that, is this an acceptable way to do it?
No.
If you can't do it in the most precise way that I know we all wish.
Andrew, the average salary in America, $52,000 to $60,000, depending on region. Why are we sending gainfully employed people checks? Why in the world would you ever do that when there's people unemployed that are really hurting? Give them more money. Don't fund people that are already employed. This economy is probably going to run at a 7 to 8% GDP, and we're sprinkling money out of a helicopter down to people who are already employed. That's too blunt an instrument. It's way too wasteful. And the risk of inflation becomes a big factor. That hurts everybody. You just can't do this again. We did this already in the first PPP program, which I now think was 60% wasted. I don't want to do it again. Money to people that are unemployed, money for the logistics of vaccinations, that's it. The economy is going to come back screaming. It doesn't need any more stimulus, please. And by the way, there's tons of infrastructure spending in here. Amtrak, another $1.5 billion. They haven't even spent the first $1 billion. Why is that in this bill anyways? What does that have to do with COVID? There's so much non-COVID related stimulus in this. It's a horrible, horrible piece of legislation. And I think every American should read it. It's just full of waste.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.